Welcome to the Explainer. So, we're diving straight into a massive issue today. According to recent IBM data, the average cost of a data breach in the US has hit a staggering, wait for it, $10.22 million in 2026. Crazy, right? But here's the thing, it's not just big businesses taking the hit anymore. Cyber attacks are literally coming for our homes, our families, and our personal devices. In this Explainer, we're going to break down exactly how you can protect yourself and your data from these rapidly evolving threats. Let's get into it.
To tackle this, we're looking at 5 key areas today: the 2026 threat landscape, passwords and MFA, securing your digital moat, protecting kids and family, and finally, the 3-2-1 backup rule.
All right, Section 1, the 2026 threat landscape.
You know, the sheer scale of this shift is just wild to me. Over 80% of phishing campaigns out there are now using AI. 80%. Attackers are generating these absolutely perfect, grammatically flawless emails in basically any language. And it gets worse. They can even clone voices from just a short little audio clip to create completely convincing deepfake video calls. So what does that mean for us? Well, that old advice we used to rely on, just look for typos or bad grammar, yeah, toss that out the window. It is completely obsolete.
Since we can't just scan for typos anymore, the FTC actually warns that we need to look out for modern red flags instead. Basically, scammers are going to try to trigger a sense of panic. That's their bread and butter. They might hit you with a really generic greeting, or claim your account is suddenly on hold because of some mysterious billing problem. Or maybe they'll send a totally unexpected invoice. The whole goal is just to trick you into clicking a malicious link to update your payment details or confirm your info. Don't fall for it.
So, before you click any link or download any random attachment, you absolutely need to build a habit of asking yourself a critical question. Just pause for a second and think, do I actually have an account with this company, or do I even know this person? Even if the answer is yes, still do not click that link. Seriously. Instead, verify the source yourself using a trusted phone number or just type the official website directly into your browser.
Okay, moving on to Section 2, passwords, passphrases, and MFA.
Look, we all know passwords are a massive pain. But instead of torturing yourself with a complex password full of symbols you are definitely going to forget, the Australian Cybersecurity Centre actually recommends using a passphrase. What's that? Well, it's basically just a password that's at least 14 characters long, made up of 4 or more totally random words. Think something like purple duck potato boat. It is infinitely harder for attackers to crack using brute force, but it's so much easier for you to actually remember.
But honestly, even a great passphrase isn't enough on its own these days. You really need multi-factor authentication, or MFA. Get this, MFA blocks an astounding 99.9% of automated attacks. That's huge. It basically works by demanding a combination of proofs to verify it's really you. It needs something you know, like that new passphrase, something you have, like an authenticator app or a hardware key, and something you are, like a fingerprint or a face scan. You absolutely need to enable this everywhere it's available, non-negotiable.
And this is exactly why passkeys are rapidly replacing traditional passwords as the absolute gold standard in 2026. Think about it. Passwords can be stolen in massive data breaches or phished pretty easily, but passkeys? They are fundamentally phishing resistant. They rely on the biometric security that's already built right into your devices. That means they're not only way more secure, but they're also infinitely easier to use. A real win-win.
All right, let's look at Section 3, securing your digital moat.
So every single smart TV, thermostat, and laptop in your house relies on your router. It's the front door. Securing it really comes down to 3 crucial steps. First up, you've got to update the firmware to patch any known vulnerabilities. Second, completely ditch those default passwords. Hackers already know your default login is probably literally just the word admin. And third, disable Wi-Fi Protected Setup, or WPS. Sure, it was originally designed to be convenient, but that PIN-based method can be brute-forced by attackers in a matter of hours.
Another totally crucial piece of the puzzle here is encryption. Look, if your router is, say, 4 to 5 years old, you really need to go in and check your settings today. You're looking to ensure you are using WPA3 encryption, because that's the current standard. If you're still sitting on outdated WEP or WPA protocols, your home network can literally be cracked in minutes. Seriously. If your router doesn't even support WPA3, it is highly recommended that you just upgrade your hardware.
Now, one of the absolutely smartest takeaways I found in the research is this: set up a guest network. Do not let visitors or their potentially compromised phones and laptops onto your main network. It's just too risky. By putting them on a totally separate guest network, you completely isolate them. This keeps them far, far away from your personal computers, your sensitive networked hard drives, and all those vulnerable smart home devices.
Moving on to Section 4, Protecting Kids and Family.
When it comes to young kids, especially those under 5, their very first steps into personal cybersecurity are, well, entirely up to you. It's a big responsibility. Parents need to actively set up robust parental controls, curate age-appropriate content, and honestly, just literally keep devices in sight. You really should never leave young children completely unattended with internet-connected devices. They simply don't understand the risks out there yet.
Of course, as kids get older, their digital footprint naturally expands, and suddenly, online gaming becomes a major risk area. Attackers literally lurk in gaming chats, offering these tempting free upgrades. But at what cost? We have to warn our kids about phishing scams, fake in-game currencies, and the very real danger of interacting with malicious strangers. Strangers who, by the way, might be pretending to just be other kids.
The way you talk about this stuff needs to organically evolve as your kids grow up. Like, from ages 5 to 10, keep it simple. Teach them about strong passwords and why we keep personal info private. Then, from 10 to 15, it's time to introduce concepts like MFA and the long-term impact of their digital footprint. And once they hit 15 and above, you need to be having real, serious conversations about complex scams, identity theft, and cyberbullying. The end goal here is to eventually hand them the keys to their own digital independence, safely.
Also, with schools increasingly pushing these bring-your-own-device policies, kids are lugging laptops and tablets back and forth every single day. First rule, ensure they lock those devices with really strong pins. Second, and this is huge, teach them to never ever plug in unknown USB cords or random thumb drives they might find or borrow. Those things are notorious malware carriers. And finally, make absolutely sure device tracking is enabled on everything so you can remotely wipe the device if it inevitably gets lost or stolen.
And finally, Section 5, the ultimate safety net.
First things first, whether you're running a business or just managing your family's tech, we all need to adopt a zero-trust mindset. That old model of just building a firewall around your network and assuming everything inside is safe, yeah, that's completely dead. Zero trust means exactly what it sounds like. You trust nothing and you verify everything. Whether it's a super urgent email link supposedly from your bank or literally a deepfake video call from your boss asking for a quick wire transfer, you must verify the request through a secondary, trusted channel before you take a single action.
Now, when disaster actually strikes, especially if ransomware somehow locks up all your files, the 3-2-1 backup rule is going to be your absolute savior. Here's how it works. You keep 3 copies of your important data stored on 2 different types of media, with at least 1 copy stored completely offline or off-site. That offline hard drive is the absolute key here, guys, because attackers simply cannot encrypt a physical drive sitting in a drawer that they can't reach over the network.
I came across this quote in the research, and it is just absolutely vital. Setting up some automatic backup and completely forgetting about it, that is a massive recipe for disaster. You have to test your backups regularly. Like, you need to actually try restoring a test file just to make sure the data isn't corrupted and the system actually functions. Because honestly, a backup you've never tested or restored from isn't really a backup, it's just a hope.
Let's wrap things up with a master checklist. These are the highest impact practices you can start implementing right this second. Turn on multi-factor authentication everywhere it's offered. Keep your devices, and especially your router firmware, fully updated. Sitting in a coffee shop on public Wi-Fi? Always use a VPN to encrypt your traffic. Deploy that 3-2-1 backup rule we just talked about so your photos and documents are actually safe. And above all else, just maintain that zero-trust mindset in everything you do online.
As we close out this explainer, I really want to leave you with a thought to chew on. Knowing that cyber attacks are scaling at this unprecedented rate thanks to AI, and knowing that the old advice just isn't going to cut it anymore to protect you, what is the very first step you're going to take today to fortify your own defenses? Just pick one thing. Start with one concentric circle, secure it, and then work your way out. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, stay secure out there.